We're joined by Dr. Keitumetse Mashego, clinical and sports psychologist. Dr. Keitumetse, welcome back on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Good morning to the listeners.
Yeah, you know, the first times are only natural when you're younger. First time that I have my first kiss, first time I go on a date, first time that I actually see the world, the first time that I jump from a cliff with something hanging on me. But, you know, that's the thing. The older you get, you feel like you've ticked all your bucket list items, and that's all that you have to actually experience. And you lose that adventure of life because life has given you lemons and at times lemonade, and you have to just keep going, and you forget about trying things out.
Definitely. You know, we limit ourselves because we are creatures of habit. So we get comfortable even in discomfort, meaning even if your habits are not working for you, we tend to just be comfortable in that. And it's hard to get out of the comfort zone. And, you know, we like predictability and control. So when we try things, it's almost like it scares us. It takes us out of that because we don't know what's going to come out of it. And we think of worst-case scenarios. You know, you think of, my goodness, what if this rope snaps, for example, if I decide to bungee jump or whatever. And we don't trust ourselves to actually get over it if it doesn't go the way we planned. And I think that's why then, you know, we tend to just choose to stick with what we know.
You're saying something very powerful there, that we've actually gotten into the habit of being in control. We want to enjoy life through that routine that we've established. As much as that's a good thing, at times it's good getting out of that routine, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, imagine if you tried something and it worked out, or even if it didn't work out, that you learned something. So what happens as we grow older, I guess we get into an experience slump where, you know, we're not doing new things anymore, and it's not like we don't have opportunities. We could. And this can lead to stagnation, you know, emotional stagnation. It can actually lead to memory decline, it has been found, and increased stress, being in that experience slump. But when you break that cycle, you could experience joy, you know, connectivity, a new emotional renewal, for lack of a better term.
Well, Dr. Mashego, you know, the older we get, we tend to focus solely on our careers and ways to make money. So when we think about new things, we're always thinking about big things. And essentially, we don't think about the everyday pleasures that could also be new that we can experience. Why do you think we close ourselves from small experiences? Because we're only thinking about, you know, the importance of big things that can happen.
Sometimes when we come from a place of lack, meaning we grew up and we struggled, you know, you're always dreaming big, you're dreaming for the biggest car, the biggest house, etc. And when you achieve that, you forget that, you know, there were small things that actually brought you joy. I always say to people, you know, in life we go on soldier mode, we're trying to survive this life thing, you know, we're just carrying on, and we forget sometimes, you know, that we are more than our work. We are more than the role we are at home. So we forget the little hobbies that actually bring us joy. And I say to people, go back to your young self. What is it that you actually wanted to learn? It could be an instrument. Maybe you wanted to sing, and hopefully you have a good voice. Maybe you wanted to learn an instrument. Maybe you wanted to paint. Maybe you just wanted to, maybe you enjoy walking. Maybe you've got green fingers. You enjoy planting. Do that. So we tend to just become our identity. We wrap it around work and our roles, but actually we are more than that. Look at yourself holistically to say, what else can I do that brings me joy? Is it running? Maybe I've always dreamed of running a marathon. Let me start training for that. So do the things that actually simple pleasures, as you put it.
And I think you're right when you're saying that identity has a lot to do with it, that we wrapped around maybe this identity that, you know what, I'm a psychologist, or I'm a radio presenter, I'm a journalist. And you forget that there's actually more to you than the work that you do. And there's so many things about you that are there to explore. And maybe we can retrace our back where we come from and say, what was the initial way of discovering ourselves? What was the way of trying new things? Because we've gotten into an apparatus whereby now we're just operating by instinct and we're just going by routine. And like you said, it's actually an experience slump that we're going through. But we'll touch those points, Doctor, when we come back after our break. What's your take on that? We want to get your thoughts. You can let us know, what have you done recently for the first time? Maybe you're one of those people who just explore. Maybe you've been to a new country. Maybe you've started a new hobby. Maybe you're changing even your life habits. Let us know on that live stream. Remember, it's on our Facebook page, simply titled Channel Africa. And don't forget that we're also on YouTube. At Channel Africa 1 is that handle for our YouTube page. Stay with us right here on Channel Africa. It's 20 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time.
The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that, tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Our younger lives are filled with firsts. The first time you go to the park, the first time you do this or that or the other. But the older we get afraid of trying new things. And in fact, we get sucked into the slump of life where we're just looking at our goals, trying to focus on our career. There's family, there's us, there's children, etc. But we don't really think about doing things for the first times. And experts are saying that brain superpower resides in the ability to expand the comfort zone and try new things. We're still speaking about this with Dr. Keitumetse Mashego, who's a clinical and sports psychologist. You know, this year, Dr. Mashego, I learned a term that's speaking about the fear of being perceived. And this speaks about, us not trying new things because we're afraid that people are going to judge us. We're afraid that people are going to see us trying. Just how much does the fear of being perceived speak into why we're not trying new things?
Definitely. I think we always are of view that people are going to judge us, society will judge us, but I think the biggest thing is when we actually judge ourselves, meaning we internalize what seems like external judgment, but it's actually me judging me for doing this thing or not doing it properly, or how people will see me, but I take it in, I internalize it. So just how I view myself in terms of, how I think other people view me, because it's not always confirmed. It's always the mind telling us, if I do this, people are going to think I'm going a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be seen as crazy, so therefore I'm not going to do it. But, in reality, the brain actually, the more you do new things, it actually releases dopamine, which is that pleasure and reward neurotransmitter. So you actually tend to enjoy things when you do new things because of how the brain is wired. But the fear of actually just going there, it takes a little bit of courage, a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of intentionality to actually cross over that fear, go through the fear to actually do the new thing.
Let's speak about those long-term benefits of trying new things. If we are people who can remove ourselves from that fear of being perceived and that fear of, people judging us when we're trying new things, how can we actually benefit in the long run when we keep trying new things throughout our lives?
It creates, emotional depth, and whereby we get lasting memories. When you try that new thing and it's great, it's the thing that you'll talk about for years to come. There's life lessons sometimes within there, personal significance for you, and, just breaking that routine. You break free from the monotony of life, and it offers basically a sense of excitement and renewal and just self-discovery, because sometimes, as I said, maybe you've always wanted to learn the guitar, or, it doesn't even have to be such a big thing. Just have a garden, right? It can just create that self-discovery where you see yourself beyond the limitations your mind or you have created around you. And also just an enhanced perception about life. Because as I said, sometimes we just get so entrenched around, yes, I'm a mother, yes, I'm a daughter, I'm this. But actually there's more to you. So viewing yourself holistically, so the perception of who you are, but also of the world. So you're just not stuck on going to work, coming back, but to see that there's far beyond to experience in this world, except, just work and, family.
Someone might be saying, it's all good that you guys are saying this, but yeah, I'm old now and I can't afford to have the experiences that I was having when I was younger. Having new experiences is a bit expensive. What do you say to that, Doctor?
There's always something you can do, right? There's always something, whether it's, as I said, just starting to walk more, just starting to do different things. And you're never too old to start something new. I had a student, for example, who was studying medicine at the age of 55, I think they were, first year students.
Oh, that's very cool, yeah.
Yeah, so there's always that ability to just do that thing that holds you back, or get over, the thing that holds you back from doing the thing that you've always wanted to do. And that's why I say go to that childhood phase where maybe life was just hard and you were unable to, do certain things because of circumstances. Go back to that time. Maybe you just simple things like riding a bike, or just learning how to ride a bike, and swimming, for example. Many people struggle with that and they haven't learned it, and you can learn that, right? So I think it's just about thinking beyond money or it being costly, and just doing those basic things that will bring that childlike joy.
Dr. Bali, I've got actually rollerblades at home.
Really?
And I'm scared to use them
No
because
way.
I'm scared of breaking a bone at this age.
I used to love rollerblades so much. I think my sister and I had pairs of rollerblades that we got when we were younger, and we used to love them. I think I would love rollerblading
Well,
again.
I tried, and what happened is that, the rollerblades that we used to use as kids, they've got those brakes at the back.
Yes.
These ones don't have the brakes.
Oh no, so you're afraid of breaking something instead of breaking.
Well, let's take things forward in terms of setting, that kind of intention, because I think it comes from that intentional space to, rediscover your childlikeness. But it doesn't have to also be about childlikeness. It can be about you enhancing even your adult life. How important is the intention around the first steps of going back to trying new things?
I always say to people, when you are changing a habit or removing a habit, you need to replace it with a new habit. Therefore, because we're creatures of habit, when you're trying the new habit, it won't always be easy, right? And the inclination is to go back to what you know. So if you're taking out, for example, partying, and now you want to start running, it won't always be easy. It won't come naturally to you because you had mastered the art of partying every weekend instead of going for a run. So you need to understand that when you remove a habit, you need to be intentional about replacing it with a new habit and show yourself grace. Right, and understand that the more you do it, is the more you will develop it into a habit, and then that will trigger then the dopamine release and that enjoyment and that excitement. But there will be hard days as well, because people often think that when you bring in a new habit, it will be good days all the time. Of course, there will be difficult moments. For example, when you're learning that guitar, it won't evolve into Tracy Chapman from the word go. You need to understand that you need to actually learn that acoustic guitar, hold it. The strings might be painful on your fingers some days. But it's really about pushing through that slight hurdle when you're learning that new thing. But once it catches on, then you run with it. And don't stop there, bring in new habits also.
Yeah. Well, speaking about habits, because we run our lives around habits and routines, we have very closed off lives, right? And even our social media algorithms only speak to the things that are already within our circle. So when you do want to try new things, you're like, well, what new things? How do I try things that I don't even know about that aren't in my life? So where do you search for that new discovery?
I believe it's really just about your look at the things that, as I said, that maybe you liked, but you never had time to actually go into. But also just just make a list of the things, if you don't know how something will go until you actually try it. So sometimes if, for example, you've never really thought about painting and people are talking about painting, try it. And if it doesn't work out, you move on from it, because sometimes we don't even want to try the things that we've never thought about. So really it's about maybe, Googling the 10 things people do and then trying them. And if they don't work out, then Google 20 and try those things. If you don't have something that you didn't learn just because of life and time, but now is the time to just try anything. And it doesn't have to be something costly, it doesn't have to be something hectic. As I said, it could be maybe you want to be healthier, so try walking. If it doesn't work for you, then maybe running works for you. Some people it's the treadmill, some people it's gymming, some people it's swimming. And also just watch that you're not overextending yourself or setting yourself up for failure. Because, for example, people who then want to start to go to gym, they want to go to gym 24/7. And I always say, but that is not possible. Even competitive athletes I work with don't do that.
Yeah.
They're going to struggle. So please don't set yourself up for failure by doing too much too soon or expecting yourself now suddenly to have all the time in the world. So 15 minutes of that thing 3 times in a week, and anything extra is bonus.
I love that.
So aim also for something that's doable.
Yeah.
20 minutes, and work from there.
Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure chatting to you. And I'm so glad that people are being encouraged to start new things. And we're seeing a rise of a hobby culture where we can also learn and grow, because learning is a lifelong thing and you're never too late. It's never too late and you're never too old to try something new. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mashego.
Thank you so much.
That's clinical and sports psychologist Dr. Keitumetse Mashego.